call to worship. Please join me. Today is a day especially created for you to find peace and hope.
In this of our active lives, we surely need such a time as this.
Come, rest in the Lord.
Our souls long for God's refreshing love.
Let the demands of your week melt away in God's presence.
Refresh and restore us, O Lord, we pray. Amen.
And if you'll remain standing, we'll sing our opening hymn. I'd love to tell the story on page 444 in your hymnal. You know how we are, Lord. We say that we will take time to refresh our spirits and our souls, and then we quickly crowd our lives with activities to the point of exhaustion. We turn to you for feeding and nurture, asking you to give us something to sustain us through our times. We even are willing to tell you what we have, but when we look closely, we discover that we bring so little to you. Take what we have, our gifts and our needs. Heal and forgive us when we boldly disobey your word. Remind us that you have given to us all that we need to serve you in this world. The world abounds with your miracles of love and hope. Open our eyes to see them and our hearts to know that these are from you and not of our own making. Heal and restore us to your everlasting love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Join me in the words of assurance. Friends, hear and proclaim the good news.
In Jesus Christ we are forgiven. Thanks be to God.
Shall we pray? Gracious God, give us humble, teachable, and obedient hearts, that we may receive what you reveal to us, and then do as you command. Amen. If you'd like to join me in the reading of the Old Testament, the scripture today can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 7 through 26, on pages 154 and 155 of your Pew Bible. For what great nation is there that has a God so near to it as the Lord our God is to us whenever we call upon him? And what great nation is there that his statutes and ordinances so righteously as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children. How on the day that you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, the Lord said to me, Gather the people to me, that I may let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children so. And you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, while the mountain burned with fire to the heart of heaven, wrapped in darkness, cloud, and gloom. Then the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sounds of words, but saw no form. There was only a voice, and he declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, that is, the 10 Commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord commanded me at the time to teach you statutes and ordinances, that you might do them in the land which you are going to possess. Therefore, take good heed to yourselves, since you saw no form on the day that the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the midst of the fire. Beware, lest you act corruptly by making a graven image for yourselves in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water upon the earth. And beware, lest you lift up your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the hosts of heaven, you be drawn away and worship them and serve them, things which the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people of his own possession, as at this day. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me on your account, and he swore that I should not cross the Jordan, that I should not enter the land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance. For I must die in this land. I must not go over the Jordan, but you shall go over and take possession of that good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and made a graven image in the form of, anything which the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God. When you beget children and children's children, and have grown old in the land, if you act corruptly by making a graven image in the form of anything, and by doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, so as to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from the land which you are going over to Jordan to possess. You will not live long upon it, but will be utterly destroyed. And the New Testament reading is found on pages 877 and 878, Mark 10, verses 13 through 16. And they were bringing children to him, that he might touch them, and the disciples rebuked them. But when Jesus saw it, he was indignant and said to them, Let the children come to me, do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of God. Truly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child shall not enter it. And he took them in his arms and blessed them, laying his hands upon them. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Today's message is entitled Pass It On, and was written by Rick Schaefer, and for that we're all grateful. The title of this sermon is Pass It On. This message focuses on the privilege and responsibility we have as Christians to share the stories and instructions found in the Holy Bible with future generations. The Old Testament reading today, found in Deuteronomy, provides instructions given by Moses to the Israelites prior to their entry and conquest of Canaan. The New Testament reading shares the story of Jesus welcoming children to his ministry. We will explore why these specific readings are relevant to us today. Moses emphasized and re-emphasized the importance to the Israelites of honoring the commandments and covenant relationship they had with God. Of the 10 Commandments, having no idols was of primary importance to preserving this covenant relationship. They would be conquering nations of people with what we may refer to as paganistic rituals and beliefs. Incorporated into these were many false idols and sadistic practices. God knew if these were not completely removed, they would eventually tempt the Israelites into these evil practices. This is why he directed the Israelites to completely eradicate all people living in Canaan and permanently destroy all idols. This may seem harsh to us today, but even before the Israelites prepared to enter Canaan, the Midianites convinced certain members of the 12 tribes to observe idolatry practices. This did not go without God's notice, and many Israelites perished as a result. God instructed the Israelites to exact revenge on the Midianites for their trickery, so temptation to idol worship was a significant threat. God also gave his people practices to remind them of their need for atonement. These were to be conducted on a set timetable, again, as a reminder of their obligations and covenant relationship with God. You may remember that Moses was not allowed by God to lead the Israelites into Canaan. Instead, Joshua was appointed to replace Moses, and it was under his leadership that Canaan was conquered by God's people. By God's design, the conquest took many years to accomplish. In doing so, they had to continue in faith and dependence on God's direction. Accordingly, this over time built character and resolve, both needed attributes for a new nation of people. Many conquests were documented in the Old Testament scriptures found in Deuteronomy and Joshua. Unfortunately, as the Israelites neared the end of their battles, certain pockets of Canaan inhabitants were allowed to remain, likely due to fatigue of battle or a false sense of security in their small numbers. This failure at complete eradication would eventually come back to haunt the Israelites. Even up to King Saul's and David's time, opposing nations would continue to trouble the Israelites. Their foremost nemesis was the Philistines. It was, of course, David who killed the giant Goliath, the champion Philistine, who taunted the entire Israeli army under David's reign. Israel succeeded in defeating the Philistines and generally secured peace for a time. David's son Solomon succeeded him as king of Israel, and unfortunately, under his reign, the idol worship and paganistic rituals were allowed in Israel. God's blessing and protections were predictably removed, and a gradual increase in foreign insurgents into Israel's borders ensued. Eventually, successor kings completely abandoned the Ten Commandments and atonement practices given by Moses. This led to foreign nations completely dispossessing the Israelites. Most of us are familiar with the hopes and desires of our nation's founding settlers, beginning at a place called Plymouth Rock. Shiploads of people seeking a new life started a nation we now know as the United States of America. Of primary importance was their desire for religious freedom. A foundational belief in God was paramount, and each generation was reminded of this opportunity and privilege to freely worship. The early religious practices were not without regrettable actions, including the Salem witch trials, but on the whole preserved the reverence for scriptural guidance. When our nation's independence had been won, the Founding Fathers thankfully incorporated a strong reference to God in our governing documents. Our governments and citizenry have not consistently complied with the sound principles laid out for this nation some 240 years ago, but thankfully, for the most part, they are still in place. Just as with the Israelites, God's blessings on our nation has been and will continue to be a function of our reverence for Him and His statutes. I expect most prior generations have fretted over concerns for our nation's preservation of godly principles. How many of us remember from our youth the old folks saying, "What is this world coming to?" Of course, we may be saying something similar today. Scary, don't you think? It is critical that each generation be taught the Holy Scriptures, and it is disconcerting when young people are not brought to church. Many denominations are currently discussing this unfortunate condition and are brainstorming for possible means to remedy this troubling issue. Omitting God and Scriptures in their early lives will not bode well for new generations of our nation going forward. Where will they find their moral compass or principles of conduct and care without God? We have to find assurance, though, in knowing that God will not forsake those who will call on His name. We haven't yet discussed the New Testament reading, so as a reminder, its focus is on Christ directing His disciples to bring children to Him. Why was Jesus especially interested in sharing His ministry with young children? They possess certain attributes that most adults lose as they grow up. First, and perhaps foremost, is their openness to new information. They haven't learned to critically evaluate new information, meaning they pretty much believe exactly what they are told. Jesus knew His instruction would be taken hard by these youngsters. Adults, more often than not, need to question and reason through new information. God's unmeasurable love and grace often escape human reasoning. Accordingly, many adults that being exposed to Scripture for the first time have a difficult time accepting its teachings. Second, children express joy far more enthusiastically than adults. We learn as adults to rein in or inhibit our expression of happiness to socially acceptable levels. Think about it. If you see a middle or senior age person jumping for joy, you are likely to raise an eyebrow and say, "What's up with him or her? Are they loony?" King David, the Scriptures say, danced with all his might when the ark was brought into Jerusalem. His wife, Saul's daughter, Michal, ridiculed David for his excessive and embarrassing behavior. If someone took a video of a president or a prime minister dancing vigorously, the media and general populace would similarly offer considerable criticism. Jesus welcomed the uninhibited joy of the little children. Lastly, children are capable of sharing genuine love more freely than most adults. Who has been tightly hugged by a child and did not feel true love? This issue, too, is often a function of what is socially acceptable. We may hug family members at gatherings, but they may be resistant to do so with friends, especially in public. Jesus, of course, knew the hearts of those He was ministering to. Accordingly, He met too many caught up in status and prestige, especially among the religious leaders. I'm sure He was comforted to feel the genuine embrace of a child. How do we approach Jesus and God? Do we truly seek their closeness in our daily lives? Or it is like the acquaintance that we keep at a handshake distance? Do we take time to tell Jesus and God how much we love Him? It really doesn't hurt, and rest assured, the more you do, the more meaningful it becomes. Now, we may not be able to physically hug Jesus and God in this life, but Jesus said, "What you do for the least of these, you have done for me." So hug Jesus by embracing those in need of love, comfort, and forgiveness. Thanks be to God. Now, please join me and rise for our hymn of response, number 589, Here I Am, Lord. may be seated. Let us now read in unison our affirmation of faith, the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God the Father Almighty,
maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Ghost, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, dead, and buried. He descended into hell. The third day he rose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven, and sitteth on the right hand of God the Father Almighty. From thence he shall come to judge the quick and the dead. I believe in the Holy Ghost, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and the life everlasting. Amen.
Let us now in prayerful consideration give back to God a portion of our blessings with our offertory and listen to some special music by Sharon.
Gracious God, we joyously place before you our offerings. May these gifts support our ministry, so that others may gather in your name and follow your path of love and peace. Amen. You may be seated.
Please take a moment to pray silently for those things in your life you can only discuss with God. Our great Creator, be with us always. We seek your wisdom, your compassion, and most of all, your forgiveness. Help us to follow your word and guide our actions in a more Christ-like way. Now please join me in our Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
our closing hymn is Blessed Assurance, number 572. Please rise if you're able. As we leave today, may the peace of God enfold us. May the love of God uphold us. May the wisdom of God control us. Amen.
Amen.